Hello, boys, and welcome to the Week 4 edition of Commissioner on a Couch. Today's hat is brought to you by Sidney Crosby and Jacques Martin. So let's get to it. Seeing as how the weekly spotlight might not be a thing this season because it's kind of hard to get together with everybody and come up with questions and all that stuff. I thought I'd introduce a new segment to the program, and it's called the No Huddle. So in the No Huddle, I'll give you some key stats, both recent and historic, interesting facts and important information about our league, or just about football maybe in general. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go with it yet, but just bear with me. So for the first No Huddle segment, I thought it would be appropriate to give a brief history of our league. So here goes. It all started back in 2007 when then Commissioner Mr. J.P. Mancini, who is currently the manager of Points on Points, decided to round up a few friends and introduce them to this concept that most of us were not really familiar with, called fantasy football. So everyone already loved watching football and watching the game, so it was kind of a no-brainer because we knew it would make the games more interesting. We'd want to watch games that our teams weren't necessarily playing in and all that. So that first 8-team league was called the whitest league ever, and 4 managers that played in that league are still playing in the league today. Also, as a side note, the league wasn't the economic powerhouse that it is today. And that inaugural championship was won by Mr. Ben Joseph with a team called Make It Rain after an epic 13-1 regular season. That's still the record for most wins in a season for a fantasy football league here. So after getting the ball rolling in 2007, Mr. Mancini decided to step down from his commissioner duties so that he could focus more of his time on his managerial duties because he wasn't happy with his performance the year before. So in the 2008 season, someone had to step up to the plate, and that's how yours truly became commissioner, how I got that coveted position, In any case, the league was now called the Justice League after its former champion. And it still had 8 teams, 6 of which have managers that still play in the league today. And at the end of the 2008 season, focusing on being a manager proved fruitful for ex-Commissioner Mancini because after squeaking into the playoffs with an 8-6 record, his team, which was called the Friends of Plaques, won it all. 2009 saw another 8-win regular season team win it all when the Redskin Warriors, who were managed by Mr. James De Pastena, who is no longer in the league, pulled off an improbable playoff run after an 8-4-1 regular season in a league called the Wolf Pack of One. 7 members from that season are still in the league today. In 2010, the league fittingly expanded to 10 teams, and it was now bigger and more competitive than ever. The championship was won by commish slash manager, this guy right here. And my team name was called the Shirt Before the Shirt. And that was after a 12-1 regular season. So that was definitely the most successful fantasy football career I've had. And 8 members from that magical season are still active in the league today. In 2011... when the league changed its name to just the league, the championship was once again won by Mr. De Pastena's Redskin Warriors, and he is the only multiple championship winner in league history. So after a 9-4 regular season, the Redskin Warriors came away with their second championship in 3 years, and 8 managers from that 2011 league are still in the league today. Another important note about 2010 and 2011 is that both those seasons included a team called Oak Nation, who was supposedly managed by one of Corey's friends, but I think the jury's still out on that one. I think everyone still thinks that was Corey's second team. So anyways, finally in 2012, the league had, last year the league had 9 of its current 10 members, and last year was perhaps one of the most amazing single season turnarounds that I've ever seen. And that was by the All Blacks, who are co-managed by Corey Wawalski and Zach Brzezinski. After going 2-6 through the first 8 weeks of the regular season, they won 5 the last 5 games in a row to finish 7-6 and managed to win their division, and then they just swept through the playoffs and won it all. So that was a truly remarkable feat, and I don't know if that's going to be duplicated anytime soon. So that's it. That's pretty much it for the history. I hope you all enjoy that trip down memory lane, and let's get back to the present now. So the weekly recap. So here's a quick recap of last week's matchups. The first one is Chalupa Batmans versus the Jupe Stars. So looking to turn around some early season misfortune, I guess, the Hellos renamed their franchise the Jupe Stars. Unfortunately for them, it couldn't get Aaron Rodgers off the bench and into the lineup during his bye week. Tony Gonzalez did have a great week and gave the Jupe Stars a fighting chance with a monster performance on Sunday Night Football, but the point gap proved to be too much for Marquise Colston to make up the following day, and the Jupe Stars now tumble to 1-3. Big victory for the Chalupa Batmans though, who now find themselves at 2-2 after an 0-2 start. Next up, Cartwright Hernandez versus My Password is Taco. It was another tough week for the taco stand as they got absolutely hammered by Hernandez, 148-78 or something like that. So they moved to 2-2 after 2-0 start, while Hernandez improves to 4-0. In my opinion, Taco is going to need a major shakeup if they want to turn things around, especially since the combined record of their next 3 opponents is 8-4, so that's a pretty tough schedule coming up. As for Cartwright Hernandez, it looks like manager Benjamin Francis Joseph may have finally recaptured that 2007 magic where he went 13-1. Walking Dez versus Bono's Football. In the battle of 0-3s, Bono's Football put up over 133 points to claim their first win of the season. Like I've said before, I think this team is better than their 1-3 record. Does that mean they're going to have to make the playoffs? Only time will tell. As for the Walking Dez, the struggles continue. They haven't gotten over 100 points since week 1 when they scored 106, and they'll need to find some magic fairy dust that the Steelers are looking for if they plan on making the playoffs and climbing out of this hole. I actually spoke to co-manager Chris Uramian earlier this week, and he claims to be happy with his squad and not interested in making a move at the moment. So I don't know how good of a strategy that is. My advice, sometimes you gotta get out of your comfort zone, kid. All Blacks versus Rafi Bomb. After failing to dress a player in the flex position, after failing to dress a player in the flex position for D'Angelo Williams, who was on a bye week, the Rafi Bombs fell to 2-2 with a loss at the hands of the All Blacks, who are now 3-1. I'm sure co-managers Brzezinski and Wawalski are ecstatic that they escaped with a W, but it's unfortunate to see an empty roster spot where there were several capable bodies on the bench that weren't inserted into the lineup for the Rafi Bombs. Like, he had some guys there that could have easily just been moved up to that flex spot, such as Greg Jennings, who scored over 21 points, and that would have easily gave him the victory. So I hope this doesn't become a trend for the Rafi Bombs. Last matchup was Val Venus versus Points on Points. Points on Points put up a very respectable 116 points, but it was no match for a Val Venus squad who put up nearly 160 points, which is the highest total of the week and also of the regular season, en route to the victory. So with a 3-1 record now, the Val Venus leads the Franco Harris Conference. Meanwhile, Points on Points falls to 2-2 despite having the second most points for in the league. So he's had a tough schedule at the beginning of the season here. He's played some guys who put up a lot of points. Moving on, let's take a look ahead. So I think I know I went 2-3 last week with my predictions. So it's not a great start, but hopefully I can improve on that record. So let's get into this week's matchups. The first matchup we're going to look at is Chalupa Batmans versus Cartwright Hernandez. Chalupa Batmans are really going to feel the bye week pinch because both RG3 and Adrian Peterson are not playing for him this week. Those are his 2 highest point producers, and it couldn't come at a worse time playing against the 4-0 Cartwright Hernandez squad, who has all of his main weapons available and ready for game action. It also looks like Rob Gronkowski won't be back until week 6, so that's another tough blow for the Chalupa Batmans. Adding up all those factors, it looks like Hernandez is in for an easy W this week and is going to be off to a 5-0 start, so my pick is Cartwright Hernandez. Next up, the Jube Stars versus the Walking Deads. My pick here is the Walking Deads, and the reason is very simple. The Jube Stars are in serious trouble at the running back position. Maybe a running back for a wide receiver trade will materialize between now and Thursday night's matchup. Maybe it won't, but it's hard to ignore the talent on the Walking Dead roster, and I think they're poised for a W here. So, yeah, I'm going with the Walking Dead. Also, bold prediction, I think Eddie Lacy will go off against the Lions, so that might be a difference maker. Val Venus versus Bo Knows Football. In my opinion, the difference maker in this matchup will come from the quarterback position. If Michael Vick can have a huge day against a woeful Giants defense, then Bo has a great chance to win this matchup. On the other hand, Drew Brees seems to put up 30 points a week, no questions asked, so it goes without saying that a win here would be much more important for Bo. But I can't pick against Easy Breezy, so I'm picking Val Venus to get the W here. Game of the week. The game of the week this week is Points on Points versus the Raffy Bombs. Both these managers have great fantasy teams, and I'm excited to see them go head-to-head this week. At the moment, the Raffy Bombs are slightly favored, but that may change once both managers have a chance to tinker with their lineups. So far, Points on Points, first-round pick Ray Rice has proved to be a major disappointment. He absolutely needs to be a factor this week if Points expects to get out of this matchup with a victory. I think that may happen a couple weeks from now, that Ray Rice will get back into form, but I don't know if I see it happening this week. I also think that Shady McCoy is going to have a big game against the Giants, and that will mean trouble for the point squad in real life and in fantasy football. So my pick for the game of the week is the Raffy Bombs. Anyways, that's the way I see it all shaping up this week, boys. Have a great Black History Month, and don't forget to put your suggestions for the new league name, or vote on the ones that are already there. Deadline to submit names is October 3rd at noon, so don't forget about that. Have a good week, boys.